10-minute daily reality check coming at you, man. This is my favorite week. I have my favorite co-hosts on. I had Eddie Palmer. I got Greg. Hey, Greg, isn't this like for a football fan just about the greatest week ever? People are going, oh, no, he's going to talk about football again. I don't really care. I'm a beta male, and I don't really know what football is. I know how to take my toes and rub it on a ball. Is that considered football? But I got a question for you. There's the Patriot way, and then there's the Dolphin way, right? And
Sure.
you look at, today's conversation is really mainly about ego, but you look at a guy named Mike Tannenbaum, the guy that built the Jets into a perennial nothing. He is now the head man with the Dolphins. And all he does is sign 33-year-old players to big contracts. While the Patriots go and pick back and wait and think about what player would fit their team and assign them to a contract that is under the cap and everything works out great. I mean, what is it? What makes a winning organization, I think, is the biggest question. What makes a winning organization compared to a losing organization in not only just sports, but life?
I think, well, that's why we're talking about ego, because so many people, you can't have all these huge egos in one room and expect them to come together as a team and create a winning program. It just can't happen. It's impossible. So I think the Patriots have been masters at making sure that they only recruit people that are either brand new to the game, like they find the young guys, they bring them in for 1 or 2 years, they try them on, make sure that they're going to fit the program, make sure that they're not going to get too big-headed, and fit them into what their structure is, or they tick up guys because they picked up guys like Aqib Talib, okay? Huge ego, right? But somehow they kept him in check. Randy Moss. Come on, who else have they had? They've had all these crazy players that in other programs it didn't work. But when they got to New England, they kind of understood right away they had to check their ego at the door because they were there to do one thing, to win. And I think in any sales organization or any team, everybody has to be humble and practice, gratitude in order to keep their egos in check to gel together as a team.
I agree that in any organization, you can't have a bunch of people who are always defending themselves, that are always making excuses for their behavior or excuses for their performance or their excuses for the way things are not working, because that's not how things work. I mean, there's no accountability. And I think in any team or any organization, there has to be a high level of accountability in order to be successful.
Well, and there's got to be no blaming of others, which is the majority of people in this world do, right? Something goes wrong. Did they ever look at themselves right away and say, oh, maybe it's my fault? No, right away, they probably blame somebody else. And that can't happen in any kind of sales organization or professional sports organization, because it's just toxic. It's poisonous.
You and I, a long time ago, built a business. And whenever I did something wrong or you did something wrong, we actually had an open form of communication. We held each other accountable. And that's why, do you remember like how much money we made in the beginning of that business? I mean, we were making stupid money, such stupid money that you decided to go and travel with somebody. Otherwise,
we were making like 30, 40 grand a month.
The 50 on some.
Yeah, in the summer we were on a business that we started. We started with a bunch of credit cards, and it was just ridiculous. Remember? Sell like 20 cars a day, something stupid.
It was great, and then you'd always yell at me, well, that's an 88 Accord with 80,000 miles. Why did you cheap sell it? And I'd be like, we can go get another one. And you'd be like, no, Johnny and Roger won't give us another one like that. They'll give us a shitty one this time. But what we did is we built an organization. We were able to hold each other's ego in check. We were able to work together. And then it was interesting. Then we would hire other people. We would hire the almighty Quinn, and then Roy Bernard came in, and the organization started to crack.
Well, Roy Bernard cracked the organization. Quinn didn't care, but think about Lori. Remember Lori, our little bookkeeper?
Mm-hmm.
She was great, quiet, humble, peaceful. Didn't like the limelight. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what it takes. It takes building a great organization. I think that a lot of people don't realize that. You can't You have to build an organization with team players. Team players report into each other. Team players check the ego at the door. Team players take responsibility for their screw-ups. Team players don't defend themselves and tell you that the other people before, the last people that were here before us suck so bad and we had to clean up the mess for like 6 months. Bullshit. They didn't suck so bad. They did a good job. They got fired for whatever reason they got fired from, and you were brought on to make things better, to take responsibility. And I think that's the biggest thing, is that people are trying in today's world to get rich really, really quickly without really wanting to do the work.
Well, this really relates to me. Like, I've done a lot of reading about CEOs of companies. You know, a CEO, right? The company's not doing well, something's going wrong, and they fire the CEO. You pick up, go online any day of the week, you'll find some story about some CEO being let go. And when the next CEO comes in, what's the first thing he says? Oh, I got to clean up this big mess. This other guy just left me all this crap, all these problems. And the process goes around and around and around. This is kind of like the Jets, now that I think about it. It's circular. Okay, it just goes around. They blame the next guy to get the next coach. The next coach trying to clean up the mess from all the bad players he had the year before, and they pay him all this money. He doesn't work out. They bring in another guy, and it just keeps going over and over and over again, because nobody can just shut up and say, okay, we're going to do it this way now. We're not going to talk about the past, and we're just going to move forward. And I think in life, a lot of people just need to let it go and do the same thing.
Yeah,
Especially in relationships, right? I mean, business relationships. If you're going to be a salesperson, if you're trying to meet the right woman, if you're trying to have a good relationship with friends like you and I have, if you're trying to better communicate with your families, just be accountable. And at the same time, do not look back. I never make it a really big habit. I never, ever want to be seen as some kind of victim to somebody else's actions, or to look back and blame somebody else.
You know, it's interesting you said that, because it's so true. Because if you look, the Jets are the perfect example of a losing organization. The other day, they didn't get Kirk Cousins. There was no chance they were going to get Kirk Cousins. So what did they do instantly? Oh no, we got to get Josh McCown. We got to give him more money. We got to give him a $4 million raise. He's 38 years old. He'll be 39 July 4th. He's got no ceiling whatsoever. What if Bridgewater decides not to have us? Someone's going to get McCown. Who the fuck's going to get McCown? Nobody's going to look at McCown and go, wow, that guy won 5 games with the Jets last year. What a miracle. But that's what the Jets do. And then the Jets paired McCown with Isaiah Crowell. Wasn't that the same awful backfield combination the Cleveland Browns, who won 2 and lost 14 a couple of years ago? It just continues instead of having the patience. And I think that's the thing about a winning organization. Teddy Bridgewater, I'm going to say it now. You can hold me to it. The guy's going to come back, and he's going to be the best free agent signing, whoever gets him, because he was a #1 draft pick and completed 66% of his passes, and he blew out his knee and broke his kneecap, and he had this awful surgery. He's going to come back, and he's going to be even better than before, because he's got something to prove, right? And he's a humble guy who fits in. He's actually probably the perfect Patriot. You know, he's that humble guy with a shitload of talent. And it's really interesting. The teams like the Jets and the teams like the Dolphins, and you can look at sports as a guide to organizations. They just continue to make the same mistakes no matter who's running it.
Right. So whose ego's running the show?
No, it's always ego.
Don't get us wrong. I mean, the Patriots want to win every year. Every team wants to win, right? I mean, the one thing about that article that I sent you today is that Bill Belichick has a huge ego, but he checks it. Now, he wants to win, and he has no qualms about that. But what he doesn't want to do is waste any time with media, doesn't want to waste any time talking to anybody. He'd rather spend his time working on trying to make his team better, trying to improve his own skills. That's the difference. And I think a lot of people just don't want to put the work in. I think you're right.
Well, here it is. This is how you create a winning organization. You put the work in, you look at what your strengths are, you listen to feedback, you constantly acknowledge the fact that you're self-sabotaging yourself over and over again. If someone repeats to you the things that you're bad at, try to fix them instead of getting defensive. And if you're somebody running an organization, hire people that are competent, not people that are full of excuses nonstop. Winning teams are constantly winning because they have a culture that's winning. Sometimes a winning culture can become a losing culture, aka the 49ers. They cleaned house. They got Kyle Shanahan, John Lynch, and Richard Sherman went there on a team-friendly contract. You know why? Because he saw a winning organization and he wanted to be a part of it. Hey, Greg, is your website up yet? Can they reach you there?
The website will be up in a few days. It's going to be veracitygp.com, veracitygp.com.
Awesome, man. Enjoy your workout, and we'll see you all in the reality check tomorrow. David Wygant from davidwygant.com. You want to create a winning organization, you want to learn how to be the most successful version of yourself, contact me and ask me about my mentorship programs. I'll see you all soon.